Hey folks, Patrick Dahan, your gas buddy guy here, closing out 2025. Been kind of hot streak lately. Gas prices down 5 straight weeks. Yay to all those folks who have been hitting the road. I certainly have been one of those here in the last few weeks. Went to Michigan and came back and was real pleased to pay 206 a gallon in Northwest Indiana. Yeah, all right. I used the Pay with Gas Buddy card to fill my tank up and got a huge 56 cent a gallon discount. I'm not going to complain about it. You should check out Pay with Gas Buddy if you haven't already. Certainly a great program. But sign of the times, gas prices down to close the year out. A lot of Americans probably scratching their head. I've heard it so many times this week. It's holidays, demand is up, gas prices shouldn't be down. Well, if only it was that case. But gas prices did indeed go down. The national average fell another 4 cents a gallon. The current national average now $2.75 a gallon. We've fallen 25 cents in less than a month. Certainly terrific news for those who have been buying stuff for loved ones and gifts and traveling to see friends and family. I was just looking at some of the gas buddy numbers. We have 40 states now, 40 states where average gas prices are below $3 a gallon. I'm sure most of you can probably bet the states that haven't yet joined the sub $3 club. I'm going to pull them up here and go through them with you. Most of them are on the West Coast, as it turns out. I think all of them are on the West Coast, except a couple. Those that are still above the $3 mark, Hawaii and California, still over the $4 mark. Washington State, Alaska, Oregon, Nevada, and the exceptions, Pennsylvania, Vermont, New York, also above $3 a gallon, as well as Arizona. But Pennsylvania, Vermont, New York, Arizona are all within just a few cents of falling below the $3 mark. So that could happen there soon. The rest of us, 40 states below $3. And of that, it looks like 29 of them are below 275. 17 states below 250. And I've been tracking over the last couple of weeks the rising number, about 300 stations right now that Gas Buddy's tracking below the $2 a gallon tally. That represents 0.6% of all stations nationwide. So some of you lucky folks, Colorado, Oklahoma, Kansas. I think Colorado is still, $1.67 a gallon at some of these stations in Colorado right now, in Denver. What I would give to be out there right now, and I'd be nostalgic for some of those high school prices. I mean, $1.67 is just ridiculous. You fill up your pickup truck at that point for less than $50. Certainly not a bad deal. And I'll get into the why. A lot of Americans have these convoluted ideas that it's, politically aligned or whatever else. I'll just cut to the chase and say there's a few main ingredients for why prices in some areas, Colorado, are below $2. They have a plentiful amount of cheap Canadian crude oil, which last check, that Canadian crude oil going for quite a bit lower than what we see U.S. WTI. WTI at about 57.84 a barrel. Western Canadian Select, 44.39 a barrel. A lot of that Canadian crude oil ends up flowing into the Rockies, the Midwest, the Great Lakes, all of these interior states, whereas the West Coast, the Gulf Coast, the East Coast generally are going to be more reliant on oil from Texas or even imported oil. And that opens up the door for, if refineries are buying oil in Colorado for $44 a barrel, that's really where the math is here, is that oil is so cheap there that stations are selling for below $2 a gallon profitably. So not only that, but refinery turnarounds are done. Maintenance season has been done for the last 3 weeks, and utilization rates. That's a measure of how much of capacity is being used at refineries. It's pretty high for winter. I think the mid 90s at last check was the last utilization rate. We have a new government report coming out today from the Energy Information Administration, which is running a full, basically 2 weeks behind schedule due to the holidays. I'll delve into that, but bottom line here, refinery output is up, demand for gasoline is down, and oil prices are down thanks to OPEC increasing oil supply. So A lot of that is why we're seeing prices so much lower right now, and that's probably a trend that will continue for the next couple of weeks. Don't bet on it lasting longer than probably mid-February, though. That's usually the time of year prices hit their sweet spot. Yeah, right around Valentine's Day. In fact, some of those sub $2 prices could disappear even earlier than that. I mean, keep in mind, the price of oil is up today on diminished hope of a deal between Russia and Ukraine. The U.S. blockade of Venezuela's oil continues as well. So we have some geopolitical issues that could impact prices moving forward. But weaker gasoline demand. I mean, most Americans are not putting in a full week last week or this week with New Year's. Schools remain closed. So, while people are traveling, my family traveling, demand for gasoline is still weaker given the fact that fewer Americans are working in the full week, that schools are closed, diminishes gasoline demand. So it's typical this time of year to see bargain basement prices. We've also seen sub $2 prices at some stations a year ago and 2 years ago. So if you're one that only follows certain politicians, you may think this is new. It's not really. It's longer lasting this year, and part of the reason is that OPEC increased oil production this year. So enjoy it while it lasts. Not that it's going to inevitably disappear here overnight, but in the next couple of weeks, I know it seems crazy that we're not even into January yet, but there's an excess of gasoline supply that will start being processed and liquidated towards the end of January and early February. That will start us on the road to more expensive blends of summer gasoline. I know it seems crazy, but California is going to start that transition already in late January. The rest of the nation will start it in mid-February, mid to late February. And then by March, basically every region with the exception of the Northeast is going to be on that transitory phase towards cleaner summer gasoline. So call it 6 weeks left of cheap gas. Not that we're going to see gasoline prices slingshot, but we will likely see prices going up in mid to late February. The Gas Buddy 2026 fuel price outlook is going to be coming out here in early January. So stay tuned. I will keep you apprised of what we expect for the next year. Follow me on Facebook, YouTube, all the social media platforms, Gas Buddy Guy. I'm going to start trying to do more of these YouTube videos with a quick synopsis of what's to come. But that's the good news. Gas prices are low, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the recession. That's the other thing that I was going to hit on. A lot of Americans thinking that low gas prices right now are a sign of an economic calamity waiting for us. That is not necessarily my experience. Demand for gasoline remains strong. It's more a function of an increased supply from OPEC. So with that, I want to wish everyone a very happy new year. If you're traveling on the road, make sure to fire up the Gas Buddy app and find those sub $2 prices. Or if you're in California, there's even a station below $3 a gallon. Even California now is only 20 cents a gallon away from falling below the $4 a gallon mark. So my best wishes, and hopefully it's a very fantastic start to 2026. For now, the news is good. Gas prices going down, but enjoy one more week of peace and quiet here before the new year really gets started. And we'll be here next week to tell you all the latest on gas prices. See you soon.